another opportunity for us to do it, generally speaking. I'm your host, Bob Snyder, CEO of Renatus. Excited to talk to you more about our series of training on the reasons why building for events is so critically important. Listen, building for events is one of those things that, that's what drives the income and the revenue in our business. Why? Because events compress time. They compress time. Now think about it. You can spend 6 months working with a new ICM to get their belief and conviction, to get them trained, to get them really up to speed, to help, in some sort of a transformation. Or you can just get them to a 2 or 3 day event and have it all happen in a compressed period of time, over 72 hours. That's the beauty of events. It does so much of the heavy lifting for you as a leader, and it gets your people fired up and excited to move forward and start taking action. It can take them from part-time to full throttle inside of a weekend event. Here's the next reason why it's so critically important. Rank advancements multiply. You get people that are so excited coming out of an event that they actually engage in money-making activities because they can see the payoff is realized by those people who take action. So now what happens to them? They engage, and then the results start to follow. And they go from 1-star to 3-star to 5-star. You, of course, enjoy the benefits of helping them achieve that. And then you get to enjoy override commissions on their production and effort moving forward in the future. And then the next point that I really want to drive home is this: team duplication. Because when everybody is trained in the same environment, when they are converted in the same environment, when they have an opportunity to have belief and conviction raised in the same environment, here's the good news: they get out as a team and start to duplicate your efforts and all the things that you've been telling them to do. It's tough because sometimes it's difficult to be a prophet in your own land, but when you take all of your team members who, for whatever reason, don't take what you're sharing with them to be gospel, you bring them to a big event where they see speaker after speaker, trainer after trainer, inspiration after inspiration, testimonial after testimonial, all impacting them in a condensed period of time. All of a sudden, they're going to come back to you and they're going to go, holy smokes, that was brilliant. That was incredible. How come you didn't share that with me? And you're just going to shake your head going, I've been telling you that all along, but you weren't ready to listen. That's what an event can do for you and your team. It gets them all on the same page, and duplication follows. So, just another one of the many, many reasons why building for events is the lifeblood of our business. So get out there and find out your next event. If it's the E3 Summit, get everybody there. If it's a regional training, get everybody there. If it's a Thursday night presentation, get everybody there. That's the beauty of driving for events. I want to see this business not only go from your head to your heart, but impact your wallet as well. And this is the best way I know how to do it.
All right, perfect. GM, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Let's jump right into it. Great to see you all. We're going to hang out with Daine Clark here in just a minute, but let's jump into it. Okay, quote of the day for our Wealth Wednesday is, you never know what you can do until you try. Ain't that the case? Not enough triers out in the world. It's enough wishers, enough dreamers, but we need more doers. You never know what you could do. I think some of you could make $100,000 in a quarter if you tried. Okay, so today we have cash flow. We got house tour this Saturday. Let's clear some filters. Here we go. Yep. In the Salt Lake City area, Sandy, I guess, technically. We got cash flow game night. Stephen Moore is doing his meeting. I don't know where the Fox team is out of. Let's find out real quick. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, for Canada. That's why I was like, what the heck? For the Canadians. By the way, we got Renatus Canada moving in a big direction. So it's working, guys. And then tomorrow, of course, we got the briefing with the workshop. Oh, we got the vernal workshop as well. Guys, we are expanding like crazy. It's working. Cool. And then there's a property tour next Wednesday as well. Then game night. Oh, that was it. The other thing I wanted to mention was live education. Making sure that's on your calendar for bringing guests and for attending as a student, coachable, open mind. So that's going to be on closing, title, and escrow. I think Christian George is one of the most well-versed people in the legal side of deeds, and recording, title insurance, all the stuff that you could easily make a mistake on. And I have caught a lot of title companies making big mistakes. Like even on one of these recent ones, they recorded my deed in the wrong county. Okay, these title companies are not all the best. Okay, they're just people. They don't pay attention to the details. It's not their portfolio that's being built, it's yours. So you got to know. You don't need to know how to do their job, but you need to know how to check that their job was done correctly. So this man, Christian George, I've learned so much from, and I highly encourage you to attend in person if you can. If not, check out the live stream. And then, like I said, bring guests. Guests now can only come to a half day, AM session or the PM session. Lunch is around 12:30 to 2. So if you have people coming in the afternoon, tell them, hey, take half of Friday off and come in and see why I'm so excited about my real estate future. Why I know, even with no background, no experience, I know I'm still going to crush it over the next several years. Come see why I'm so confident and so excited about it. And bring somebody, sit them down next to you and watch the class together. Whenever you get an aha moment, you could nudge them. Oh my gosh, do you realize? Oh, there's another gold nugget. And encourage them to join you. They need to get educated because real estate's risky. Of course, the horror stories that people have experienced with uneducated gambling, I would call it, not investing, but people straight up gambling. Not us. No way. We get educated and we invest. And what I mean by invest is get rich for sure. Not roll the dice, not hope. Okay, that's gambling. That's lottery. That's not what we're doing. We are investing. We're allocating capital, relationships, knowledge, and time to deals that will get us rich for sure. Maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years. But investing is about getting rich for sure, not gambling. So if anyone ever asks you, isn't that risky? Or, you're taking chances? No, we're not. We do calculations and then we properly execute. Investing is about getting rich for sure. So that I appreciate Renatus always updating education. I believe this is the 8th class this year that they have updated or added a new one too. They've done a lot of training at corporate this year. And then there'll be one in December as well. So if next Friday you don't have enough time to arrange your schedule, I get it, but you got enough time to be there for this Thursday, Friday combo. And that's going to be on Fix and Flips. That's going to be with Jason Andrus. He has done thousands of property inspections, right? Knowing what to look for, what will pass, what won't pass. So he's done that thousands of times. And he's also done hundreds of fix and flips. So he's going to show you how to find your deals, how to structure them from A to Z, covering all the things from vocab all the way up to the paperwork, the what to do with your profit, even everywhere in between. So that's going to be highly valuable. So that'll be 4 sessions, right? AM, PM on day 1, AM, PM on day 2, and guests can come to one of those. But if you got 20 guests and you can move them all around, let them come to whatever they can come to, but then take them out to the lobby. If you want to do this, let's get your order in. Down payment minimum 20%. And then to be clear though, There's not going to be any pitch at these events, the one with Christian George or with Jason. There's not going to be someone who comes up and says, hey, here's our packages, here's our prices, here's the menu. This is strictly going to be education. This is going to be, the meat and potatoes and the salad and the dessert and the soup to nuts, I guess is what they say down in the South. Anyway, it's going to be awesome. So use these. Don't just let them come and go. Use them to build. Any questions about those upcoming events, how to use them, what's expected of you, what you can expect from corporate? Before we move on, questions, concerns, contributions, complaints? Good. All right, we'll GM to that. All right, congrats. Also, real quick, top 10. Mike Villa, number 1. Richard Stock, number 2. Mike Saunders, number 3. John Chavis, number 4. Janine Best, number 5. Denise Vance, number 6. Mitch Maley, number 7. Coulter Hansen, number 8. David and Denisha Christensen, number 9. And Justin Brummel, number 10. Well done, folks. I know these are people that took advantage of the E3 for their guests. They didn't just show up as students. They showed up as builders of communities. And big congrats to them. Okay, now let's get a full dose here. Let me check something real quick. Okay, perfect. Oh, good to see you. Paul, Scott, Steve, Sandra, Corinne, good to see you all. All right.
Michael?
Yes, good morning, GM.
Good morning. Just to confirm, for example, the fix and flip is taught over 2 days. If I bring a guest, they need to choose only one day for half a day, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, how many guests are you bringing?
I've emailed 3 people and I haven't heard back, so I'll follow up.
Okay, send a voice memo, right? You got an iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah, so send a little voice memo because that way they can hear the excitement in your voice too. It gets lost in just the words. So,
Perfect.
hey, everyone, this thing's going to be awesome. I'm super excited. Let's do this together. Come see, and you'll get more reactions. Also, 3 a day, not just 3. 3 a day.
Got it. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, Corinne, I want you to have $100,000 December. Let's go. Sweet. Okay, any other questions? Thank you for getting that clarification. Jasmine, Chuck, Corey, everybody's good? Sweet. Okay. Now we will continue to improve the deep crevices and recesses of the mind to be disciplined and create exactly what we want and spread the abundance around the world. That's what we're going to do. And we can only do that through self-confidence. No one's going to want to do deals with someone timid, right? Your family needs you to be confident. Your business needs you to be confident. Your clients need you to be confident. And your future self will thank you for developing self-confidence. So systematically, this has been put together. This is the formula. So we're going to do it. By the way, if anyone has memorized this yet, let me know. Or if you want to read it, I'm going to read it. But if you want to contribute to it, it's more the merrier. All right, here we go. Self-confidence formula. First, I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here now promise to render such action. Second, I understand that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, which is what we are doing here right now, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object or position I desire. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim, and I will always work until I develop sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that wealth or position can long endure when built upon truth and justice. I will engage only in transactions that will benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve them. I have eliminated hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism, and I've developed love for all of humanity, for I know that a positive attitude towards others will always bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I'll believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day in full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions, so I will become a self-reliant and successful person. GM. Sweet. So I hope you guys are doing this also. You're either saying it with me, reading it. I get the huge benefit of repeating it aloud once a day. So I hope you guys are also engaging in that. This is the formula. This is one of the biggest difference makers for people's results. Yes, training helps. Yes, timing helps. Effort helps. But all of those things are enhanced by your self-confidence. So stay focused. Sweet. All right, let me grab this here. So yesterday I went to the city planning meeting again. It had been a month since I had scared them about my Main Street property plans. They want to keep it this small town feel, and I proposed that we build a 10-story high-rise apartment building with a casino on the bottom. And everyone stared at me like I was an alien from outer space. What are you doing to our little town? And so created an anchoring bias. The biggest building on Main Street is only 3 stories. Okay. So if I were to go and say, I want 4 stories, guys, we make an exception for me, 4 stories, then they would be like, dude, we already have the biggest one. And I would be asking for more. So if I start right at 10, freak them all out, and then work my way down, now 4 sounds small. And a casino is obviously outrageous, out of control. In fact, I don't even think it's legal in Tennessee. I know people go to Kentucky for casinos. But anyway, I'm being so crazy with my asks. I also wanted to get approval for LED billboards on Main Street. They already have one over by the Lowe's. But I was like, let's get one right here on Main Street. And in fact, we could just do one whole side of the 10-story building. It could just be billboards that we rent out, and we can make more money. And by the time I was done with my pitch, the whole room was silent. And let's see, there was about 13 people in the room. And one of the other city workers pointed out that the director's jaw was open, jaw dropped, he said, you hit every trigger on her. She hates billboards. She doesn't want anything tall. She doesn't want anything loud. And so I said, all right, fine. Let's just do 4 stories with a restaurant on top. And they're like, you know what? That sounds fantastic. We need something like, and then the whole conversation went towards the direction I actually wanted. So extreme anchoring. Exactly, Steve. Extreme anchoring. So anyway, go to your city planning meetings, have some fun. Every city is expanding, like people are flocking to America. So if you guys are experiencing any sort of lack or scarcity, it is just in your head. You need to look around, you need to get out, find out what your cities are doing, and go to these planning things. You'll see what is planned and start thinking about your 5-year and 10-year plans as well. This is how people are making the big money. Fixed flips are nice. Wholesaling is great. But land, development, holdings. That's where it's at. Okay, anyway, quick announcement and then we'll get into our training. Next Monday, I asked Mr. Eric Counts, who is our business credit, personal credit, automations instructor, to come do a special training for us Monday morning. So we got our Money Monday. It's 8 to 9 Mountain Time. We got the hard stop at 9 because of the PAC call. But yeah, we'll have Mr. Eric Counts out. He's going to do a training. Then we'll open it up for a Q&A. So this is a team thing only. Please, of course, as a reminder, these morning calls are not for guests. If you are a guest, then you need to buy your training and get with the program already. Anyway, make sure you are there for Monday to hear Eric's training. Sweet. All right, now let's get into Wealth Wednesday. I know some of you, this is your favorite day of the week. You get to hear about the progress. You get to get your questions answered. We get to have another deep dive into constructing deals, not just finding deals, but making deals. And that's how we can stay in control, be in the driver's seat of our portfolio. And our next trainer has done just that. He makes deals. And you can tell where people are at in their career if they say, I need to find a deal or make a deal. Because a whole new level of prosperity and responsibility comes when you understand you make deals with your knowledge, your time, your relationships, your experience, your capital. Daine has been a great example of that. He got his start here at Renatus. When he first found us, he was intimidated by the idea. He is a hard worker, but the idea of investing and putting capital to work and not having a steady job was outside his comfort zone, to say the least. But with some encouragement and, of course, the community support, he kept showing up, got his first deal, brought a bunch of guests to the deal, and started doing property tours and selling the education out of the basement of the deal he was working on. He understood you work both sides of Renatus, you're going to multiply your portfolio. And he kept doing that, has made hundreds of thousands in the marketing side, enrolled dozens and dozens of people, helped thousands now have some sort of profit in a deal. And that has been his goal, is to now help another 1,000. So we are very grateful that he is here today to demonstrate proper business habits, answer your questions, inspire us to take more action and be better versions of ourselves. Daine, thank you for being here. Let's give a big warm welcome to Mr. Daine Clark.
Good morning, my friends. Oh,
Yeah,
there's
buddy.
lights on. It's dark in here.
GM,
We lose. It's funny. I was doing the math. We lose like 1 minute a day of our morning, all the way till December 20 something. I forget what day, but
Interesting.
it's like dark. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
This happens every year, but it surprises me every year.
Man, my once a week webinar I got to do.
It's now darker.
Yeah.
And this is like how I know too. This is my standard, is Wednesday mornings. I never miss.
Yeah, and it's 7 minutes darker every time.
Yeah.
Funny.
But
well, cool. Well, welcome. We got some live education coming up in the next few weeks, so excited about that. Getting title closing and escrow updated, as well as fix and flip day 1 and day 2. So anyway, what is the latest and greatest? I know people want to get this unblocked strategy. Do you guys remember the acronym for unblocked?
Yeah.
We got underwrite, negotiate.
I just had, oh man, I've got a whole bunch coming. So I've got one right now where, and it's funny because I'm tracking, I'm tracking not only how, the clientele, if what their issue is and why we're solving it, but now I'm also tracking the conversation. So I had a conversation. I could trace this to say I joined Renatus from one person that said, "Hey," so I met that person, and because of Renatus, I met the person that sent me this. I basically met somebody in the Renatus community. That person connected me to another individual that I don't think they ended up joining Renatus. if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they did. But they never got back to me if they did. But that person called me back. I haven't talked to them for at least a year and said, "Hey, I know you told me a story. You told me a story like forever ago, and I had a buddy just call me, and their story is like your story that you told me. And so I'm going to give you my friend. He's a business owner. He writes his income off. He's making like 15 grand a month. He's doing really well. But him and his wife have never owned a house. They have been married for like 10, 11 years, I think he said. Anyway, so I called that guy and talked to him yesterday. And he gives me the spiel. Um, and like right when I joined the call today, from what I think I heard you say, Michael, like I didn't just like get excited and say, "Oh my gosh, like yeah, let's help you, let's get you a house." I kind of um I kind of stepped back and was like, "Yeah, like I helped a guy. Like you guys ever heard me talk about uh the one versus the 90 and 9 analogy in sales, like talk about the one." And so really I just kind of told the story. I did not kind of I just told the story of one of the first people that I helped. I was like, "Yeah, like I was buying rentals and I was flipping houses and I had a guy call me and say that, basically like almost like retold this guy's story." And so it just kind of made it sound like it was, a little more exclusive. And it was all of a sudden he just like flipped into qualifying mode where he was like trying to convince me that he would be a really good person to do this for. And and
Nice.
I mean, it was awesome. And he's so stoked, and he's just like, "Holy cow. My wife and I, like I said, been married 11 years. We've never bought a house. We've tried to buy a house for all these 11 years. But just he's like, there was always something." And in fact, one of the recent ones was um, the last, um, I don't know, 2022, I think is when this happened. But somebody signed into law. I can't remember if we ever talked about on this call, but somebody signed into law that I shouldn't even say law, but some kind of standard with the banks, that if you have a good credit score, you actually pay more in interest. They jacked up everybody's interest rates that had good credit so that they could subsidize bad credit people's mortgages. I'm not sure if anybody knew that, but I remember that happened. I swear it was 2022. Anyway, but somebody signed something that said that they could do this. And I'm going to say that again. If you have if you have good credit, your interest rate went up so that they could subsidize interest rates and give bad credit people lower interest rates. Like that's a thing. It really did happen. I swear it was 2022. And
This is what I'm trying to tell everyone. You don't hate the government enough.
yeah, yeah. And so I remember when this came out, like all of a sudden, like my rates, I could go get a certain interest rate, and then it was like 0.5% more. And And so he was like, "Yeah, we were under contract on a house ready to buy." And that came out while we were under contract, and it pushed us over into where we couldn't even buy the house that he's like, "We lost our earnest money, everything." And so he's just like, "For all these years, we've been trying to buy a house and it's just never been in the cards." And anyway, and he's like the perfect candidate for what I do. Makes 15 grand a month in his business. He writes some stuff off so that he doesn't have to pay as many taxes. He's got 20% down. But yeah, so I trace conversation to join Renatus, conversations that I had within Renatus, conversation from somebody that I met through the community. Well, at the time he wasn't in the community. I don't know if he is today. And then that person connected me to the person. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 deep that got me this. And I've told stories to all 4, but that's 4 people deep basically that have heard my story or stories. And and then running about their daily average life. I shouldn't say average life. Everybody's life is amazing, but running around their normal life. And then all of a sudden a conversation happens and my story pops in their head and they're just like, have you met Daine? And so yeah, so that just happened yesterday. I'm trying to think. I had a whole bunch of them. Um, let's see. Similar. I don't think I met this person through the Renatus community. This would have been out, but they're a realtor. Had a conversation with a realtor, and so this realtor, and I've told my story, and this realtor called me up. I think it was on Monday. Let's see. It doesn't matter. Within the last few days, and said, "Hey, I have a house that I am listing for sale. I just got an offer on seller financing. My clients are not comfortable with it. Daine, I know you are because they've heard my story. And so the proposition is basically, Daine, will you buy my client's house and then sell to this family? They've got let's see, the house is being sold for
Dude, that is awesome.
500. Yeah,
That
I
is
think
so cool.
the house is being sold for 530,000, I think it was. And the buyer has 200,000 down.
Dude,
And I'm
no
just like,
freaking
yeah,
way.
yeah, I'd make that happen.
So they said, hey, will you buy it at this price they're happy and sell it to these people at this price they're happy? And your risk is so low because of the down payment.
Yeah, he's bringing 200 grand.
Boom. Guys, watch your classes and invite more people. Daine cannot do all the deals. I cannot do all the deals. America cannot do all the deals. And
That's
everybody,
just like a
every American
wholesale.
has benefited from this. What was that? Go ahead.
I think that's just like a wholesale without Dane having to pay the wholesale fee,
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
basically. So yeah, it's like a double close, wholesale, wholetail kind of got some wholetail nature in there. It's a BRRRR method without one of the R's, the rehab one. It's a mix of a bunch of things. Um, but yeah, it's a flip without bringing in the contractor because truly buying and selling, there's transaction A, transaction B. Oh yeah. So that was one more. I swear there's one more. I got to keep track of all these. Um,
That's awesome.
that
Um,
somebody's.
Tamara
Oh
said she's, when you're ready. Tamara's got a question, so does Aaron.
yeah, but yeah, the one that let's see. I think you guys have been watching this one unfold over the last little bit because you guys asked me. But the one that the guy and his wife bought the house in 2019 with a balloon payment in 2022, and then the seller was very gracious and said, "Oh yeah, we'll go to 23." And then they couldn't do it. They couldn't refinance in 23, and then, "Oh yeah, we'll go to 24." And then they couldn't do it in 24, and then he's like, "Okay, here we are 2025." He's like, "I need my money. I need you to refinance me out." So that one just appraised for 900,000 this week. And so I'll buy it. I'm thinking tomorrow. Yeah, we'll probably close tomorrow or Friday. I'll buy it for 585 this week.
Nice.
And I did the appraisal beforehand because I just wanted to know what I was up against. But yeah, so 900,000 appraisal came back, and I'll buy it for 585 this week. Turn around and seller finance it to them for 58,000 more.
Oh, that's so cool.
Refinance it. I'll be like almost no money out of pocket. In fact, if I wanted to, I could probably be no money out of pocket. I'll probably still put some in so that the payment's a little lower, but still, the cash on cash return on this one will be through the roof. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, I swear there's one more. I got to remember it though. Anyway, we got
Well,
stuff
what's
going.
what's the deal with this, Dane? Is such a big equity and like the seller.
So they bought it in 2019, and that's what it was worth in 2019. And so here we are in 2025, and it's worth 900. And they just had that balloon payment. They had a balloon payment in 23. They couldn't refinance. The seller was like, we'll extend it one more year. and then they couldn't refinance in 24. And so the seller was like, we'll extend one more year. And then here they were in 25, and they're like, and the seller's like, I need that money for something. And so can we please just get this done? And so that's where I came in. And this was the one
I
where,
got you. Okay.
let's see, I'm trying to trace
Thank you.
the conversations in this one. Let's see, conversation, joining Renatus, meeting people in the community. And then in fact, she's on here, and I don't, if she wants to keep herself anonymous, that's fine. Had a conversation with her father. Father likes cars, went to the car show, started talking to some random gentleman at the car show, and I guess you can really get personal. Okay, yeah, Aubrey focus it. So Aubrey's father at the car show, and I guess when you're at the car show, they're like, that's like instant friendship, because they started talking about their housing situation for some reason. And Aubrey told her father, and in fact, Aubrey, I actually don't know this piece of the story. Which story did you tell your father that made him think, oh my gosh, like seller financing? But anyway, so, and you're more than welcome to come off of mute and share it with us if you would like.
Sure.
But yeah, so what story did you tell your father that your father in this moment, making friends with this couple, getting so personal within probably minutes of talking that they're just like sharing housing and financial challenges that all of a sudden they're facing? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have no idea how they got that deep that fast. But yeah, at car shows, it's basically like a family and a club. So they
Yeah.
get down and personal, and they know their cars like their children. They know who they got sold to and bought
Oh my
3
gosh.
years or 3 lines down and things. And so yeah, he met this couple there, and they were talking about the cars in my dad's show. And then they know that people with cars have lots of money, especially with the exotic cars that my dad has. And so then this couple, they've been doing like the live in, fix and flip. So they've done like 3 or 4 where they move into it, fix it up, and then they sell it, and then they've repeated that. And so they just asked him, like, hey, we're in this situation. Do you know anybody who loans for owner financed fix and flips? And he didn't know about you personally, but he did hear the stories that Nate and I were talking about, and that we were looking to help people like that. And
There
so
you
he
go.
was like, my daughter knows somebody. And so he referred us, and I had a conversation with them. And when they told me, I was like, oh, I absolutely know a guy.
Crazy. So yeah, just telling a story to people in your sphere of influence, like mom and dad, or brothers and sisters and cousins, and I mean, literally just telling stories. And this is the season. Like here we are, the next 2 months. Like this is the season where you're seeing family that maybe you don't see very often. Like get good at a 30-second story that's powerful. And when people ask you like, oh, what are you up to? Like instead of being like, oh, this, be like, oh man, I just helped a guy, or I just heard this guy, whatever, heard this gal, you name it. Pick a 30-second story that's just moving that you would duplicate when you're talking to all your family over these next couple of months. And remember the one, like leave the 99 and remember the one. Tell the story about the one, because somebody made all the difference in somebody's life for that one person. And for that one person, it is the only story that changed their life when it comes to real estate, right? And so yeah, pick a story this season, or a couple of them, as you know, that you just feel are appropriate, right? You'll notice that I tend to lean towards like that very first one that I did, and I tell it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's fine. And it was years ago, but I tell it as if it was yesterday. And with all the excitement and everything. But yeah, so it worked. And here we are. Like I said, we're going to try and close either tomorrow or Friday to help this couple. And it's cool because everybody in the deal is like, thank you. The seller's like, thank you for paying me off. Obviously, the buyers are like, thank you for saving our equity. Because even if I sell to them for six, I'm not a head math person, 620-ish, something like that. It had appraised for 900. And so they're saving like $280,000 in equity just to do this. And then obviously I get compensated too. But anywho, awesome sauce. Cool. Let's see. Somebody had questions. Who was it? Was it Tamara?
Hey, Daine. Good morning. Yeah, I have a couple questions.
Yes.
So I have questions that have been lingering, but now I have questions also towards what you just walked us through. So let me start with the lingering question. So
Yeah.
because I haven't made it on here. So I am still out there, working on getting more deals like you're doing. I have a guy, so I've had like about, I don't know, 10 conversations, and it sounds like there's one guy right now that's really pushing to make this happen. And I'm doing this in a market where it's a lower end market, but it'll still work. So I guess my question is, can you walk me through his budget for the house is $200,000. Can you walk me through like your process? If you had a class, I'd be watching your class.
How much does he have down?
I'm working on that right now. I think it's going to be around 15,000, 15 or 20.
Okay. So let's do this. So I'm going to show you how I do this on a more detailed level. You guys can see this. I know last time I accidentally shared the wrong screen. So yeah, it looks like you guys can see this. Somebody confirm if you see my deal check.
Yeah.
Yes, we see you, Daine.
Cool. So I use a BRRRR method calculator to run my analysis, only because there is a purchase. So like this week's deal, I'll purchase it for 585 this week, and then I will immediately begin refinancing the day I buy it. And so there's, like I said, it's BRRRR method without one of the R's, because I still buy, rent, refinance, repeat. I just skip the rehab of the R. Now, if tomorrow's situation is not going to be like that, like if she's going to buy it and then refinance, then yeah, BRRRR method. In fact, Tamara, tell us, would your intention be to do the same thing, like buy it cash or hard money, buy it with private money and then refinance it? Or would you just buy it? Or is this the one that you already own? Did I miss?
This is a different one.
Okay, so you're shopping basically for a new house. Would you buy the house with your financing, your long-term financing in place, or buy it privately and refinance later?
Buy it privately and refinance later.
Okay, cool. And is there a reason for that?
Just how my funding is lined up right now.
Cool. Okay, perfect. Okay, because I was gonna say if you say just because Daine does it, I'm gonna say no, because there's reasons I do it. I have done it both ways, where I just buy it with the long-term financing from the get-go. All right, so
when you say that, you mean the mortgage in place?
Yeah, so I buy it with a purchase money 30-year mortgage. I've done those in the past. There's no wrong way to do it.
Yeah, gotcha. No, right now, just how my funding is lining up.
And that's fine. Okay, so we're going to do a BRRRR method. We're going to add a new one. We're just going to say enter manually. I don't use this very often, so forgive me as we go through this. We'll just say Tamara's BRRRR method. Let's see. We don't care about the address right now. We're just looking at numbers. So purchase price, did you say 200,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he looking for a fixer upper, or do you want to just run this and say, if we buy it for 200,000, we kind of expect it to appraise for 200,000?
For now, yeah, on this
Yeah, so
property.
let's leave that. Okay, and you said he's got how much money down?
Let's say 15,000.
15,000. Okay, so notice what I do here. In this, you could do this in Renatus iOS, you could do this on Deal Check, you could do this on a spreadsheet. This is just going to be an easy, like, pretty way for me to put it together. Okay, so all right, so in my purchase costs, notice that it's all spelled out down here, and we can take some of these away, or we just leave them as default if we want. But notice that in my purchase costs, I want to offset that in my purchase costs, because when I buy and sell a house, I actually have my client wire their down payment into my purchase. It mitigates a ton of risk to do that, where I can basically say, hey, if you don't wire your money, I'm not buying the house. I don't want this house. I never did want this house. And I don't want to get stuck buying this house and you backing out last minute. So I say, no, if you don't wire your money, I don't buy the house. And so I like to put that into my purchase costs, and notice that I'm going to put a negative number. So negative $15,000. Oh, we need to change this to not a percentage, set amount. So negative $15,000 from I call him my end buyer. Okay, so end buyer, negative $15,000, and effectively that shows up on the settlement statement when I buy. I actually will instruct the title company and say, hey, you're gonna receive this random $15,000 wire from somewhere, but it's coming. And so go ahead and just put that on the settlement statement, because we're expecting it. And technically, if it doesn't come in, I'm not buying it anyway. I mean, I don't have to have that conversation, but anyway, to prove a point. Okay, so on my settlement statement, it actually is going to say negative $15,000, or I should say that would be a credit of $15,000 towards my purchase, especially in this situation. Now, really quickly, how deep do we want to go? I'm going to skip that, actually. That's like 201 depth. Okay, so negative $15,000. I still have all my costs and whatever it is there. Again, we can change this, but this is mostly just to prove the point, or to teach the process. Okay, so now on the back end, let me ask this question tomorrow. When you refinance, what loan to value will you refinance? I typically do 75% loan to values. You can give me any number you want.
Yeah, I generally do 70 or 75, so that's fine.
Okay, so we're going to leave it at 75%. Do you happen to know what interest rates are in your area?
Let's just say 7. I think they're around 6.
Okay, yeah. I just got quoted. So the one we're buying this week, I just got quoted, I think 6.625. I mean, it is Utah. It is a higher dollar amount, whatever. So anyway, again, just to teach this concept. Okay, so we're gonna do 75% LTV. Excuse me. So yeah, 75% LTV, so 150,000, 7% interest, and all right, let's come back up here. So on the private money, we can play with that number a little bit to say, do we want to try and line up the private money to be very similar to what we're doing, what we're going to refinance, or do we want to have to bring some cash to close, whatever. So basically, we just want the first loan, because remember, there's two loans in a BRRRR method. There's two loans. There's a purchase money loan, and then the long-term refinance loan. Purchase money short-term loan, and then the long-term refinance loan. Okay, so if I know that my second loan, the long-term refinance loan, is going to be 75%, in other words, 150,000, I just want to make sure that the first loan is not less than the second loan, because then you have to call it a cash out refinance. I want what's called a rate and term refinance. And so yeah, so we're good there. Our our first loan is 160,000 and our second loan 150,000. So we're safe for not the second loan being bigger than the first loan. Okay, so we can even just leave that. We could honestly probably lower the first loan by like $5,000 or whatever. In fact, Tamara, when you buy private money, do you owe your private money or your hard money monthly payments, or is it payment free and you just pay at the end?
I've done both. Right now, I have most of them are pay at the end.
Paid at the end. Cool. So yeah, so technically we could lower this. It'd save us a little bit of interest, but we'd have to have a little more capital to do this. And so, so technically we could probably even match and say like 150. Yeah, because then this loan would be like 155 or something like that by the end. But anyway, we can just leave it there. Okay, so we buy the house for 200,000. We get a private money loan or hard money loan, whatever, for 160,000, which means we have to bring $40,000 down payment to close. And then we have all of our closing costs. And so minus our end buyer's 15,000 down payment that goes towards our closing. And we can do that directly on settlement because we are doing a private money loan. You would not be able to do this if you were using your 30-year long-term money from the get-go. They wouldn't let you because you have to source every single dollar that goes on a settlement statement. This is partially why I do what I do. Okay. Anyway, so all in to buy the house, we're $26,000 out of pocket, right? Our client brought their 15, we brought our 26, right? Everybody with me there? So let's call this phase one.
Yeah.
Phase one, we're 26,000 out of pocket. Okay, now they move in. Oh, and then we gotta figure our monthly payment.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you gonna add 10%, or will you sell to your client exactly 200,000 that you bought it for, or is there any arrangement there?
No, so let's just say I'm going to add the 10% onto the buyer.
Whoops. Okay, so she's gonna sell for $220,000. 220. Her client is bringing $15,000 down. Have you talked interest rates?
Not yet.
Okay, so let's just pretend that you're going to tell them, oh, I just add 2%. Let's just see where this pans out. I'm going to add 2% to her rate. So we're going to charge him 9. And so let's see. I need to change this actually because we were playing something else. 30 years. Whoops. Like my zeros, sorry. 9% interest. Okay, so 220, 15,000 down, 205 principal, 9% interest, 30 years. So monthly payment is $1,649.48. I'm going to copy that and we're going to paste that into, now because it's a BRRRR software, it's going to say rent. Oh, right there. Right there. Okay, so now remember, with loans, you've got PITI, principal, interest, tax, insurance, PITI. I'm only putting PI into the gross rent because that's the thing that will never change for them and for me. And so gross rent, PITI, other income, we're going to say taxes. And I mean, tomorrow, just give me a number. Yearly taxes for a $200,000 house. $1,000, $1,500 maybe.
Yeah, it's like 1,500. I think like 1,500.
Okay, so 1,500 per year. And then rental insurance, which basically just means, I shouldn't even say rental insurance. Slang word is going to be rental insurance, but non-owner insurance. Yeah, non-owner occupied insurance, not homeowners insurance, because That's a lot more expensive, and technically they won't cover the stuff inside the house because it's not yours. And so we want non-owner occupied insurance, slang word, AKA renter's insurance, or rental. I shouldn't say renters, rental insurance just covers the house. That's it. I'm going to say $800. Is that fair, Tamara, or do you feel like it might be different? Might actually be a little bit cheaper on a $200,000 house.
Let's just go with that. I'm not sure actually.
Yeah. Anyway, but nice thing is this is just a wash. Okay. Now I do pay a loan service company. Well, I shouldn't say I pay. I guess I say I pay. I do charge it to my buyers. But we're going to add that as income because they're going to pay it. And so now we have principal, interest, tax, insurance, and the loan service fee. Let's look at I'm going to put this under operating expenses because, again, this is a BRRRR method calculator. So it's going to say operating expenses, bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
And so we're going to say taxes are, what did we say, $1,500?
Yeah.
Per year. Rental phase. Insurance, what did we say, 800?
Yeah.
Per year. Rental phase. Future expense, no. Cool. So $1,500 in taxes, $800. We basically just matched it exactly, apples to apples. Loan service fee, because they pay it, but I also pay it too. Not double pay, but they give me $30 and I give the $30 to my servicer. And so I leave it as an expense on my end because it's just a wash. So notice that the other income we have now done, we have made it come out to $222 per month. And then our operating expenses inside of the rental phase BRRRR method calculator, 220. So it's a wash. They pay it and then we pay it. So now let's take a look-see and see what we're looking at. Because if we get a loan for $150,000 at 7% interest, our mortgage payment is principal only $998 per month. And we do pay the $222. So our out the door mortgage payment would be $998 plus $222. So our 222. So our out the door mortgage payment, because they're gonna charge us principal, interest, tax, insurance. Well, actually we have the $30 in there. So it'd be $30 less. So minus $30. So our bank would basically say, all right, your out the door payment is $1,190. Okay, so there we have, and all of that is accounted for here. It's all broken up. So sorry, let me put this so you guys can see everything. So here's our income statement, basically. Every month, our buyer pays $1,649 plus taxes and insurance and a loan service fee. So our out the door payment for our buyer is $1,871. And again, this would be subject to change when you actually get the actual taxes and when you get the insurance quote from your insurance agent, which takes like less than 24 hours to get insurance quotes. And in fact, oftentimes, the one we're buying today, I actually got the quote from the insurance agent like a month ago. I'm gonna have to get it again, but I just called him up and said, hey, I think I'm gonna buy another one. What would it be? Here's the details of the house. And so quotes are easy to come by. So their out the door payment is $1,871. We also pay taxes, insurance. Notice that they're exactly the same. It's just a wash. And then we pay our principal and interest, $998. So we cash flow $651 per month. So cash flow, $651. Now let's also talk about our refinance because I saw a couple things in here. So two things that we can do up here. So remember, our original loan was $160,000, and this included that looks like we're paying some points because our original loan was 160 plus whatever points that are due on the back end, and so we paid back the 160 164.5, and interest for, oh, I've got this on 6 months. If it takes you 6 months to refinance this, then you're slow. Let's do even 3 months, in my opinion, is slow, but let's just leave it at 3 months. So we're going to say 3 months that we refinance that out. And so in interest alone, we pay $4,000. However, and you can do this if you want. I like to because it paints a more true picture, but I actually like to come in here and in the monthly expenses, let's see. So our buyer is paying $1,871, and that's due the first day of the very next month. So if I buy this house today, November 12th, their first payment's due December 1st. It is prorated, and so they're only going to pay a half a payment, pretty close to, but we're cash flowing from day one. So we can actually add that into our holding cost. And so I'm going to call this before refinance payments. Basically, our buyer is paying, and because this is an expense sheet or expense section of the BRRRR method calculator, I'm going to do negative their full payment. So because their full payment, principal, interest, tax, insurance, loan service fee, $1,871. So I'm going to do a negative number there before refinance payments per month in the rehab phase. And so basically by the time we refinance in this calculator, we've gotten 3 payments, okay, because we went for 3 months. So notice what that does to us down here. We basically netted out better than all of our expenses, because if I do, let's see, holding costs, where am I gonna, there we go. So we are paying, or in Tamara's case, she said that she just pays interest at the end of her hard money loan. So her hard money loan is accruing $1,371 per month minus the before refinance payments. So this shows that she got 3 payments, because if we do the $1,800 times 3 months or times 3 payments, then she earned or revenued $5,600. And so that's a negative $1,500 in the expense, meaning she's $1,500 ahead for that first 3 months as far as holding costs go. So when we refinance, we get a $150,000 loan. We pay all these loans, fees and whatever. I don't know, could be more than $6,000, but whatever the loan costs are, we pay all those loan costs. And because we get the loan for $150, but the balance is $164, again, with the payment from our borrower or from our buyer and the interest earned on that hard money loan became a wash. And so we basically would end up owing an extra $19,000, $18,999. And so we would owe an extra $19,000 upon the closing of the second long-term 30-year loan. So now we have a 30-year loan. We would have to write a check for $19,000. Technically, it would be a little more because it would be offset the payment that we receive from our buyer. That's already accounted for in here. So we'd write a check for, let's see, what was the payment that they made? They made us like $5,600, and so we would basically add $5,600 to this, or a little bit less, but close to it. So all in, when the dust has settled, if we account for every penny income and outgo from Tamara's bank account, let's just pretend that she started with a savings account balance of literally $45,715. So let's pretend that she logs into her bank account. She has a savings account that has $45,715. When she buys the house, of the $45,000, she pulls $26,000 out. So 45,000, what was it, 700? Oops, I passed it. Oh, no, I didn't. 45,715 minus 26,715. Oh, that's cool. That's cool how it lined up just perfectly. I haven't seen that very often. So, oops, I added an extra one in there. So 47,715 minus 26,715. So the day she buys the house, she takes that $45,000 in that savings account is now only, sorry, this is in the way. Oh, come on. All right, there we go. $19,000. So she had 45,000, now she has 19. And then she receives payments for 3 months, but she also is going to owe money to the hard money lender, the first short-term loan, the 160,000. So she's going to owe interest to them. So she receives 56, but she also owes some money there. But she does net out $1,500 ahead. And when she refinances, she writes that check for the difference in the loan. So all in all, now remember, she used to have 45,715 in the savings account. Now that is zero. So she has $0 in that savings account that she's chosen to invest. And obviously she has money in other places for reserves and all that kind of stuff. But for investing, she's like, all right, I've got 45,000 to spend. And so she now has $0. And don't worry, this is gonna get really cool in just a minute. This is already really cool anyway. But so $45,000, now she has $0 in that savings account. And the very next month, she receives $1,800 and spends whatever it is, the rest. 16 minus 9. Anyway, she cash flows $651. So now, after the very next month after refinancing, that account is not $0. It's now $651. And then the month after that, it's $1,200, $1,300, or $1,302, right? So now she's cash flowing. But let's look at this. So a couple things here. Her loan with her bank is $150. Do you guys remember how much her buyer owes her? Let's see. Oh, come on. Why is this not? There we go. Nope, that one. So her buyer owes her $205. So 205 minus 150, that's 55,000. So let's say that her buyer calls her up tomorrow and says, hey, for some reason, I have to like double click everything. Can everybody still hear me okay? Just want to make sure that nothing's like freezing.
Yeah, we can hear you, Daine.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So she owes her bank 150. Her buyer owes her 205. So let's say her buyer calls her up tomorrow and says, oh, by the way, I just got a new job across the country. I need to sell the house. Her buyer owes her 205. She would cash out, let's say he sold the house and we're going to pretend that there's no early payoff or whatever. And so she cashes the check for 205. She pays off her bank. I mean, this would all happen simultaneously, but she pays off her bank 150. So now she gets paid 55,000. So let's even do this in a 1 year, yearly. So let's say 1 year down the road, she cash flows $7,813. And so in that bank account that had 45, and then after refinance, it was down to $0. Now that bank account has $7,813 a year later because she will never have any maintenance cost. She will never have nothing. In fact, even when she files the taxes on this, depending on how she does it, potentially doesn't pay any taxes on this either. Again, could go a couple ways there. But now she has $7,813 in that bank account. And then that buyer's like, a year later is like, hey, I'm going to move across the country. I got to sell the house. And so she gets paid $55,000. So if we do 7813 plus 55,000. So remember, she started with 45. 1 year later, she has 62.
Wait, how did that 45? Sorry, you lost me at the 45. Where did that come from?
We're just pretending. We're just pretending that you're like, hey, I've got $45,000 set aside. I've been saving money in this special account so that I can invest in deals like this. And she saved $45,000 up. So we're just pretending that you have it in like a money market account or a separate savings account that's labeled I want to do contract for deeds, basically. Separate from your business and all that kind of stuff. So you still got all the money in your business and whatever. But this is like, hey, I've saved up $45,000. And just to prove that, or just to paint the picture, I'm saying that we have this dollar amount in that account exactly to get that point that, hey, like, yeah, we had to spend the money. So you had it in this savings account labeled, I want to do contract for deeds. It's now $0 after refinancing, but 1 year later, it has $7,000 in that account. And let's say your buyer cashes you out a year later. Now you've got, what did I say, 62,000? So now she has 62,000 in this account, and she could go do one more deal or maybe two. Now here's where things get really interesting. Let's say that tomorrow's like, well, I only have the 45,000. What if I want to do like 10 of these? Well, let's play that card. So let's say right after she refinances, the buyer's already paid, like, let's see, in our scenario here, the buyer has paid 3 payments. And let's say we go 4 months now, so then they've paid 4. So the buyer has paid 4 payments. She refinanced. She has this savings account that now only has one extra payment in it, so $651. So again, $651 in that savings account that is labeled, I want to do contract for deeds. And then she calls up a friend that's like, hey, I want to do deals. And remember the 4 boxes: passive, active, property with an underlying problem, and then not interested. There's a story there. So she calls up one of her friends that's like, hey, like, yeah, I don't really want to like learn anything. I just want to write checks and put my money to work. And so she's got that group of people, if you will, that are like, yeah, I just want to sit back, twiddle my thumbs, and have deals presented to me. And so she calls one of them up and says, hey, you got $45,715 in that account. Just wondering, asking for a friend. No. So 45. So that person's like, yeah. I'd love to put it. So she's like, okay, cool. And let's see, I haven't shared this yet. Now I will say that because of the down payment is small, her cash on cash is only 17% tomorrow's. And that's mostly because the end buyer, as I call it, only put the 15,000 down. Still 17% is not, I mean, that's no slouch. That's better than like anything I can think of, market wise, that produces all these things, cash flow and if it fails, you could sell it again and get another down payment. Like, anyway, there's nothing else like this. That in this security range that produces these benefits and produces 17%. So let's say she's like, okay, 17%. She calls up that person, and that person's like, yeah, like I'm getting like 7% in my mutual funds, but they're like, they go up and down. They're just like so volatile. And you're like, and tomorrow's like, how about we just take the volatility out of it for you, give you the 7% that it averages, but now you're like cash flowing it and super protected in real estate. And that person's like, yeah. So you guys have heard my question. So what kind of a return would turn your head if they're just like, honestly, I just don't want something volatile. If I could match my 7% and reduce the volatility, then I'd go for it. Like, cool, let's get you 7%. Again, I'm just playing hypotheticals here. The sky's the limit with the conversations that you can have. But let's say that person's like, yeah, I'll take 7%. And so tomorrow's like, cool. So that person wires, we do a deal and tie their money to the property and all that kind of stuff. That person, edit. What is going on here? I think I need to refresh the page. All right, I think I just need to quit Safari and then reopen. It won't even quit. All right, hang on. Force quit. And then I'll have to reshare the, oops. All right, open Safari. Deal check. Share screen. All right, tomorrow's deal. All right, you guys, yeah, you guys should be able to see that. All right, are we back now? Is it one click? Okay, cool. Everything's working. Okay. So that person says, yeah, tomorrow, I would love to put $45,715 to work and make 7%. That's like straight line. Like it's never going to change. I don't have to worry about any volatility. And she's already collected like 4 payments. And so you know, she's like, yeah, like this guy's good. He's on time for the last 4 months. He's put his $15,000 at stake. Like he's got skin in the game. We're good. And so we can come in here to refinance cost. Well, actually, no, we're going to do, yeah, refinance. We're going to add a new column and say, let's just say passive lending partner. And so that person brings negative $45,715 to the table. Roll into loan, no. So now Tamara has $45,715 in that same savings account that says, I want to do contract for deeds, that she has set aside for this very purpose. Well, technically she has 45,715 plus 1 payment. So plus 651. So she's got like 46,000 and change. To do it again. Now let's calculate how much we're giving away. And so let's see, let's go back to Carl's mortgage calculator. Let's not do that one. Let's do a new one. Carl's mortgage calculator. So that partner brings $45,715. We pay them 7% interest over 30 years and no down payment. So 45,000, 7% interest. So we give them $304.14 per month. So we can come back in here and say, actually here, we don't have to do this the way I did it. We can just say, I think we can do a new loan. Oh, just kidding. Sorry. It's not going to let us do that. All right. New partner. Passive lending partner. Contribution. Negative 45,715. And we have to give that person cash flow. So we're going to add that into our operating expenses because again, this is a BRRRR method software. So we're going to call that operating expenses. And the payment was $304.14. We're going to leave it positive because it is a true expense. And this is going to be in the rental phase. Yes. Go back. So now Tamara is literally in this deal. No dollars. Literally zero. That, remember we painted that picture that's funny. The phone rings like once every 3 of these meetings and I say I need to turn it off my computer. For some reason, it doesn't ring when you guys aren't here. Anyway, so, all right. So she started with $47,000. It was at zero to get the whole deal done. She brought in and it is all dust settled and everything's done. And then she brings in a partner. Now she's back to $47,000 in that savings account designated for, I want to do contract for deeds. And so she's literally zero money in the deal and still cash flowing 347. Her partner is cash flowing 304. And but her money's back in the account. You could go do this again.
Like me on the party.
Sorry. Does somebody have a question?
No, they just came off mute.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay. So did I tell me you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch some of this, but I'm putting in literally. I've been texting my agent when some of the numbers because this is real life scenario.
Yeah, yeah. Like this. I mean, I'm not gonna say good or bad. Like this is not a bad deal. 17%. Like the deal is producing 17% cash on cash for the money needed. Like that's better than many places I can think of, if not
And
most of them.
I need to come to table with 45,000. Is that correct? Or that's
Yeah,
the
so
part
you
where
would need, in order to do the whole deal, you would need $45,000. And to do the long-term financing, the bank will force you to source it, to source the $45,000, meaning it needs to be there for at least 2 bank statements. I'm not going to say months because bank statements always fall on. So let's say your bank statement is on the first of the month. If you transferred $47,000 into an account today, it wouldn't hit the next statement until December 1st. However, that statement would show the deposit of the $45,000.
right.
You don't want that. And so you would have to give them January statement and February statement that does not show the $45,000 deposit. So two bank statements of seasoned money. In other words, 3 bank statements.
Yeah.
Because the one bank statement that shows the deposit, then 2 bank statements that show it just sat there. And it is now considered quote unquote seasoned. And so for some people, like I might have just got the wheels turning where they're like, oh, so it doesn't have to be mine. I just have to season it. Now, obviously that person has to have massive trust in you or collateral somewhere else or whatever. But yeah, technically this helps with the issue where of the seasoning. If you have, like, let's say you have somebody very close to you, like very like friend or family kind of trust, then yeah, transfer the $47,000 from them to you today so that you can begin seasoning it. Yeah, it'll hit December 1st statement. It'll show the deposit. So you have to tell them, hey, we have to wait. And then as soon as you hit January statement, it doesn't show the deposit. It just says it's sitting there. And then February statement, now you have quote unquote seasoned money and can use that for deals like this. And again, I'm just saying if you didn't have it before. Or let's say you didn't want to go that route, then just this $150,000 loan, you go get a credit partner and say, like, hey, again, of the 4 boxes, hey, passive investor, like, I know you don't have tons of money, but do you want to use your credit and your money? And so let's say that person has the $47,000, $47,715, $47,750, and they're like, yeah, I'll use my credit and I'll wire the 47. And so now the credit is on theirs because they have the seasoning in their bank statements already. Like we don't have to wait till February. They already have the seasoning in their bank account. And so you say, cool. So Tamara buys like this. And so she can use private money from that person, 26,000. And then they deed it to that partner, or they just deed it when they buy it. Either way. And then that person does the refinance and brings their own $47,000. And so Tamara literally never had to have the money at all. I just do it this way because I guess I have it. I have the money I have the capital to float like this. And and I can maintain a lot more control.
And if they wanted let's say I did it that way, and if that investor needed to get out of the deal, I would just replace them, or when did they get
sell it to somebody else?
Yeah.
It's almost like selling, so all of my contracts say with my end buyers, my end buyer contract says I, Daine Clark, can transfer this to any other investor that accepts all the terms without my buyer's consent. And so in the same way that when you have a mortgage on your property and they send you a letter in the mail that says, oh, by the way, Wells Fargo sold your loan to Chase, and so now you pay Chase, but all the terms are the same. In fact, if you were on auto pay, you'll be on auto pay with Chase, the same way you were with Wells Fargo. Like is just the back, what do they call that? The behind the scenes mortgage market. You basically create that same effect of the behind the scenes mortgage market for your seller finance contracts. And so yeah, I put that in every one of mine that says I can transfer this to any investor without my buyer's consent, and they will honor all the agreements. In fact, my buyer might not even know because I actually maintain the management of them too if I sell them off. I don't sell them off anymore. I used to, but yeah, today I don't.
Let me ask you one thing. For some
Yeah.
reason, my brain is not breaking this down. It's the
No, that's
details.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. Like we're getting.
No, so this I think I got. I'm gonna still rewatch this before I talk to my
Yeah.
agent, just so I'm on point. But so for the other deal that I'm actually already have in progress, so the house that I have, it's a very small house. It's a $65,000 house. I have the terms I set up with the who did the lease option. Now I'm moving into seller finance. So the house is 65. Someone brought the money for 45,000 for me to buy the house.
Mm-hmm.
So now she needs to get out. I have someone that's going to replace her. My question is, because it's too small to do a refinance, the numbers. So
everyone's just like squawking at it, like, ugh.
Well, yeah. So when I have this other person come in, this private lender come in to replace her at 45, it's not a huge mortgage. It's the seller finance. It's a 60.
Yeah,
it's a 40. I don't even remember what. Let's just say I think I sold it to her for 60. It's a $60,000 mortgage. So for 30 years, and I'm gonna have this private money lender come in and essentially split it with me. But how do I get her money back, or do I just pay it back?
Depends on how it's structured now. So the current person with 45,000, how are they attached to the property? If they are.
What do you mean? Do they
what
have
kind of paperwork? Is there a trust deed? Is this a joint venture?
No, it's just a promissory note.
So they're not attached to the property at all.
No.
Okay, so I won't share my thoughts.
I know where you're. This is when.
That's not good. That's not good for the lender.
Well, this is the first one
No worries. Repent. That's what I need to say.
I'm doing it differently now, but yes.
So
this
it
is
will
a
be
time
very
when we're
easy.
dangerous, right?
I'm doing it differently now, but
yeah. So yeah, it will be very easy to do that. Like literally, just get the new person. You can structure the new person. Again, I don't want to say right and wrong because there's so many variables when it comes to real estate, and so I don't want to shame Tamara at all. Like she's done nothing wrong. But with the new person, you could say, hey, I'm going to put you on a trust deed or whatever. And they give you that money. And because this new person is not attached to the title in any way, they're just going to give you the $45,000 and you give it to that person. Now, again, this, in fact, this is going to expose some of the challenges with the current structure. Let's say that you get $45,000 from this new person, you put them on a trust deed and whatever. Now you have $45,000 in your bank account. Who says that you have to give that back to the person that only has the promissory note? Nobody. And so this poses a potential problem for somebody that is not honest. Now I know Tamara is, and so this is not going to be an issue. But I just want to help see like, hey, here's the potential problems that can happen. And even some of the most honest people, when they're under fire, when they are in dire need, and let's say they did something similar, man, that $45,000 sure looks tempting because it's so easy to access. And so like don't put yourself in a position. Yeah. Don't put yourself in a position where you even have to decide if the current lender or the current promissory note was attached to title one way or another. The only way you remove them from the title is to pay them off. And Tamara wouldn't even technically see the money. And so she wouldn't have to make any conscious decision. Should I wire that money to that person? Like the decision's already made. It's not even possible for her to make that decision. And so again, I'm not going to call it wrong.
But would you, hi, Dane?
Yeah.
But would you wire that one to the title company? Like, say if Tamara is only getting the money from that person, through her bank account, so there's really no
Yeah.
title company involved.
Yeah, she could
And
instruct the title company, say, hey, wire this,
she
don't wire
could,
this to me, wire this to that person. She totally could. She
oh,
doesn't
oh,
have to.
okay, so she'll just, basically, do that, but
Yeah.
just to
But she
avoid thinking of not sending the money to them.
yeah, but again, she
Okay.
has to make that conscious decision, like,
Uh-huh.
do I want the title company to send it to her? Do I want to?
Yeah.
She has
Now,
the ability to choose.
is this person recorded, the deed? I mean, like the note? Is that recorded on the property?
Notes are not usually
I
recorded.
mean,
I
like
don't
did
the
this
promissory note.
person like file some kind of
Yeah, they could file like a notice of interest.
notice of interest
Mhm.
and stuff.
And
So
that would be better.
yeah, exactly.
Again, I'm trying to refrain from better or worse language. That would
Right.
it'd be a little more secure for
Yeah. See, because
that
for
person.
me, I do have like, I do have a property that actually I have a private lender. I mean, he's actually educated. He's got the, you know, top package too.
Mhm.
And but I'm the one, I actually recorded it, to protect her, to
Yeah.
protect the person. So to me, we have to look out for the person, especially if they don't have, any knowledge of what to do. Because I've seen it, like I've literally seen
Yeah.
somebody that did that. I mean, like what you were saying, Dane. And this
Yeah.
property, it
Me
was
too.
like, but this weird because it was a good friend of his, and
Yeah. That's
and give
usually where
him
I
the
see
money.
them,
Yeah,
to be
and give him
honest.
the money to buy the property. And then what happened is he didn't record it, and then he's giving him cash. So I think, technically this person is also, committing, well, tax evasion because he's not paying taxes on the money because he's giving him cash. So then what happened is he went in and took an HELOC, you know, out of the property without the guy knowing. So now he probably checked and saw it, and he's asking him just like, oh yeah, can we put like a life insurance? So he was asking him to put a life insurance, and if he dies, he gets the fund or like the money had to be paid, and of course he didn't want to do it. The person that has the house. So yeah, it got kind of it
Mhm.
got kind of crazy, but at least he's still
Yeah.
paying it. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's
So I just sorry, I don't know if I finished my question. And the funny thing is this investor, and I couldn't sleep at night if I did something wrong with her money, but she emailed me
Yeah.
saying
Yeah. Don't use the language wrong.
if I didn't if I didn't send it back to her, but she emailed me saying she lost the promissory note. So it's such an interesting situation. But anyway, she'll have her
I
money
trust
back.
you will do the right thing.
Yeah, she'll have her money back. I mean, I might take a few trips, but no, just kidding.
Yeah.
So, but no, but so my question is though, when I have this new investor come in, let's say she wants her money back, but the house is being paid off now as a mortgage. So where does that $45,000 come from? Or do I just pay, like, do you see where where I'm not breaking this down in my head?
Sorry, say that one more time.
So the new, let's say that this investor's out, the new investor's in, she puts the $45,000 in. The
Yeah,
house is now on
you do a
seller.
trust deed or something like that.
Yes, I do a
Okay.
trust deed.
So now we have, and let's call it lender B, because lender A that's currently got a promissory note, they get their money back. Now you have lender B, and lender B has a trust deed.
Yes,
And you're
lender
saying,
B.
what if lender B wants to get paid back?
Yeah, but now we have we're seller financing, so that she's paying down I mean, now what is she, when she wants her 45,000 back, how am I getting that back to her?
So let's say now you have lender C that's like, yeah, I got $45,000. And so lender C is like, yeah, I'll pay $45,000 to be into this deal and start earning the interest myself. And so lender C just pays off lender B. And you could do it a couple ways, depending on how your seller finance is structured. If title is already in her name, or you've got notices of interest or whatever, then your buyer would have to sign off on changing title, like reconveying and putting a new one. But just like I talked about with the back end of the mortgage market, you can basically market to lender C to just purchase the trust deed directly. It's not going to be reconveyed, and you're not going to make a new one. They're just going to purchase lender B's trust deed and now own it. And so you
But
just
now
do
the
an assignment.
value of the note is going down because she's paying off the mortgage because it's
Yeah.
a note now.
And that's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, so she buys it for 44,000. And so lender B gets paid back 44,000 because, we went however long and it amortized. And so lender B gets 44,000, lender C bought it for 44,000 because it amortized over a year or whatever. Or let's even say it was like 10 years down the road, and then they buy it for like 35,000 or whatever, the value of the note.
Got it.
And you can even make like a small spread in this too. And so let's say lender B, let's say we go 1 year down the road, and now it's at $44,000. And lender B is like, hey, I need to get out. I need my $44,000. And you say, cool. I'm not sure if you know how the behind the scenes mortgage, mortgage market works. But typically, to find a buyer, we have to market. We got to sell it. So oftentimes they don't want to buy a $44,000 note for $44,000. And so you can say, hey, you earned like $5,000 of interest or whatever. You earned let's just use that number. So you've earned $5,000 of interest. And the principal has gone down 1,000. And so what if we market the loan for $42,000? You see where I'm going with this? So actually, maybe you don't. So I'll tell you. So let's say that lender B accepts $42,000 for her face value $44,000 mortgage. So lender B is like, yeah, I'll take 42, even though it's worth 44. Now you bring in lender C at 44, and you make $2,000 just to do
They
this.
broker the note. Yeah.
Right? Go watch Jeff Armstrong's class.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just brokered your own seller finance note that you created. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Amazing. Somebody asked a question. Oh, where was it? I saw it. Where is it? Scott says, is there a Renatus class on the BRRRR method? Yes. Chris Wilson, go watch your actually, is there specifically like buying and refinancing? Like the BRRRR? I don't know if Chris Wilson talks about that. I'm not sure if there is that specifically for basically like the Chris Wilson talks about buying a house, fixing it up, getting a renter in it. But I'm not sure if he talks about like all the finances between the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. But yeah, I mean, basically, I would basically just watch the rental track and then include, actually, yeah, because what's his name? Who's the guy that talks about understanding mortgages? Christian George.
Christian George, yeah.
Yeah, so just watch Christian George's class on mortgages. But I can learn all that on YouTube. Who said that, Aaron? Oh, yeah, right. People wouldn't even know what to Google or search. Like you wouldn't even know what to search. Anyway, yeah, processing, not computing. Renatus is awesome.
So Dane, question with this. And
Yeah.
so all like your deals, every time somebody would give you money, you always give them like the equity. I mean, because I thought you were doing just paying them interest, right? So you could
Sorry,
do that like
I don't understand the question. So
no, the question is okay, let me rephrase it.
yeah,
So when you're doing the deal, like say if you have money from a third party to
huh?
give you to do the deal, you're not necessarily giving them an equity all the time. So you're just, basically you're gonna be just mortgagor, and then that person will be the mortgagee per se. So you're just paying that person an interest
Yeah,
instead of giving them an equity.
correct.
Right. Okay. So in this case for Tamara, she can probably get this person B to bring the 45,000
Mhm.
and then pay that and then create a note with that person and
Yeah,
record that one as like a memo saying that there is a problem, so that way
yeah.
Tamara doesn't
And I'd even just
go
do a trust deed. Like
yeah,
it's
doesn't go out and do a HELOC out of that without the guys knowing, you know.
correct.
And so
Yeah,
that would be the easiest way if you don't want to give equity out. Because I mean, for me, if I can do it without, giving the equity, then that would be better, especially if it's a good appreciating, area.
yeah,
Because you're
love it.
already paying good interest anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than what they'll get from,
Oh yeah.
any banks.
Like anywhere.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you could just do, yeah, I like trust deeds personally, like, because they don't have any voting rights. Depending on how you write them, you could make it dang near impossible for them to foreclose on you because of how you write them. Um, but again, if you renege
yeah.
on your agreement, then yeah, they could foreclose on you. But yeah, I like them. And
Do you? Oh, go ahead.
you can technically create a note and trust deed and have it pay like equity if you want. You don't have to pay them interest rate. You can pay them out of profits. I've done that a couple times where my note actually had language that's similar to an equity pay structure that basically said, if I get a payment, then you get a payment. But if I don't get a payment, then you don't get a payment. And if I get a
Hmm.
payment, here's how much you get of it. But again, if I don't get a payment, neither do you.
Do you do it like on a monthly basis if you do it that way?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
But you don't have
All
to.
right.
I mean, the sky's the limit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot that you could,
Yeah.
you could do.
If you
So,
can think it and they can agree to it, because I think you guys probably heard me say this, that real estate is a contact to contract sport. Basically, conversation, say, I'll write that up, and then you write it up and sign. And then that's when wire transfers happen. Like if you can think it and they can say, yeah, I like the idea of that. And you can say, cool, I'll write it up. And they sign it and wire money, then you're good.
yeah. Yeah, it is. And that's why, it's just being creative is
Mhm.
really the key, right? Because
Totally.
we can help, a lot of people, that way. So what do you put on that? I mean, do you want them like say if you default, do you do you get them to foreclose on you, or do you just say, okay, if you can't find me, you don't get my payments in, like, say for instance 3 months, you get your the house. So do
The
you
sky's
put
the limit.
that?
Like you can write it however you want,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever they will agree to.
Right, but do you put
So,
that on yours or no?
when I've done them, I don't think I have.
Okay.
Like when I've done that, like they can virtually never foreclose on me unless I'm doing something like obviously malicious.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like, say if they don't
yeah,
receive the payments from
it,
you, they
yeah,
can't foreclose on
yeah.
you.
Well, if I'm receiving payments and I don't pay them, then yeah, they could foreclose.
Yeah,
But
okay, that's what I meant.
let's say I'm not receiving payments, it gives me the ability to foreclose on my client, not make a payment
Mm,
to my lender while I'm foreclosing, get a new buyer in there. In fact, I've had one of them that went this way. Get a new buyer in there, get the down payment. I keep that because I'm the owner, so I'm getting all the equity. And then as soon as the new buyer starts making a payment, they start getting a payment again.
hmm But in this case, my question is based on you're the one that is borrowing the money from
Correct.
the
Yeah, I
money
am the
lender.
borrower. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even with that, you don't put that on there that, like, if you can't find me, if I disappear from the face of the earth, in three
Yeah.
months, you can take
Yeah.
the house,
Yeah. I
without
think
going through foreclosure.
some of the language we have is like unwilling or unable.
Mm, gotcha.
And so if I get abducted by aliens, then yeah, I'm unable to collect a payment. Anyway, I've got an appointment, so
All right.
I
Thank you
got to
so
run.
much.
But yeah, great stuff today.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Always delivering. Gilda, thank you for your technical questions. I know it's helping people learn what kind of questions to ask. So, and then Tamara, congrats on your deal, everybody. Daine, appreciate you. And keep kicking butt, and we'll look forward to the updates next Wednesday. Congrats again.
We go have conversations. Tell me about them next week. Peace.
Thank you, Dane, so much.